doing so well, Dan. I don't know if we
Hey,
need you. I would
hey,
take a vote,
Dr.
but
Lynn, how are you, bud?
first of all, you saved our life. I don't know. I'd have to explain to a lot of people what happened. We know that you had an emergency call. We know that you always are there with us. And we're going to start over right now. And I'm actually proud of myself that, it's kind of like Bud Selig didn't know how to handle that tiebreaker in the All Star game that one year. Many of you remember. Did you notice how we kept alive and found Dan Duquette? And
Yeah,
now we're
no,
back in business. So I think I pulled a fast one. But anyhow, Dan, let's get started over. I want to welcome Dan Duquette. And Dan, seriously, I love this story. I remember at the MLB winter meetings with your cousin. But let's talk about Dan Duquette. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to high school? And give us 5, 10 minutes of your story, because everybody likes the story. And then we'll go into Q&A. And thanks for coming in, Dan. You're our buddy, and I appreciate you coming in.
yeah, thank you, doctor. Yeah, I got tied up in a call. I'm doing some work with the Angels, and I couldn't get off. But anyway, I'm glad to be with you guys, and I'm glad to see that Nick is wearing an Oriole hat too. I'm very impressed by that. Thank you very much, Nick. The Nick Prater is a graduate of the player development class, and I'm very proud that he was in our class. He paid attention, made some great analytical contributions to the class, and I'm so glad to see him on here. And I apologize to you guys that I was late. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
You're great.
The
Now, quit avoiding the high school in case you didn't go. Either way, you got to tell the story. So get going.
I didn't go to high school. I did go to high school, but anyway, that picture in the background of my Zoom is actually when Henry Aaron hit the 715th home run, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that I have that on there is because we spend a week in our player development class where we actually go through Henry Aaron's mental approach to hitting. And it's gold, man. It's some of the best stuff that I've ever gotten from anybody. And it's
That's
from
cool.
a sports psychologist who interviewed Henry for 4 hours one day. And Henry gave up all his secrets that made him the greatest, most prolific hitter in the history of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why I have Henry in the background. But does anybody know who caught the ball that Henry hit over the fence? Nick, you got that one?
I got it. I don't need to say it. I've seen the shows. I've seen the story. It's a great story. Does anybody
Tommy
else want
House, the
Tom
great
House?
Tommy House caught
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
And
I love it. I
Pitching
love it.
coach.
Tommy's teaching young pitchers around the country
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
his mustard apps. Great app. But anyway,
Right. Okay. Okay.
um,
Back to you, Dan. You got to tell us the story.
my story is such that when I was growing up in Dalton, Massachusetts, little town outside Pittsfield, Dalton is famous for making the paper upon which U.S. currency is printed at the Crane Paper Mill. And my grandfather proudly worked for the Cranes for 53 years. And growing up in Dalton, I wanted to be a pro football player, but that didn't work out. And then I went to a tryout camp with the Major League Scouting Bureau, and I ran like 7.5 in the 60 and threw to second base, and they timed my throws at like 2.2. And Lenny Murillo, I said, "How did I do, Mr. Murillo?" And he said, "Well, you might want to look at some other alternatives." So I went to school at Amherst College, and actually, Lenny Murillo came to scout a couple of the guys there, and they ended up playing in the big leagues. We had a left-handed pitcher on our team, Johnny Cerruti, ended up pitching with the Blue Jays. Had a good record. And then we had a right-handed pitcher named Rich Thompson. He ended up pitching for the Orioles. He got like 3 years in the big leagues. But those guys were on our college team. And I saw Mr. Murillo again. I said, "Mr. Murillo, I'd like to get into pro ball. What do you suggest?" And he said, "Well, why don't you call up Harry Dalton? He's an Amherst grad. He's from Western Mass, and see if he'll give you a job." So that's what I did. I called up Harry. The football coach at Amherst called him up and gave me a good recommendation, and Harry gave me a job with the Brewers. So I went out and I learned scouting and player development from a lot of the great minds that built the Oriole team. Actually, in the mid '60s. Harry was the GM of the Orioles, and they went to they won the pennant 4 times, and then they won the World Series a couple of times. And Harry taught me the baseball that they learned in Baltimore.
Wow.
Harry grew up under Paul Richards. Paul Richards is, we read his book in our course.
Yeah.
And of course, Harry hired Earl Weaver.
Yeah.
We study Earl Weaver on strategy in our course. And then um, there's a new book out on Earl Weaver that's part of our course. Earl Weaver was the godfather of analytics, if you will.
Yeah.
He was keeping track of the who hit what against whom
Yeah.
when he was coming up. So anyway, after the Brewers, I got to be scouting director. I went to the Expos, got an opportunity to work for David Dombrowski. He's a great executive. And when Dave got promoted to GM, I moved up. I was his assistant. And then when Dave got the job in Miami, they gave me an opportunity to be the GM in Montreal. And then from there, I went to Boston and then Baltimore. So anyway, I'll give you some good stories. I'll give you all the inside on how to develop ball players. And I'll give you good insight into the Major League Baseball in general. And I've got some good contacts that can help you guys if you decide to come and study.
No, Dan, I love it. You'll be in Orlando for the MLB. Dan, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Being involved with baseball, watch Ted Williams play at the Kansas City A's game. I go back as far. I remember putting the tape recorder on when Hank Aaron broke the home run record. But Dan, let's go back to the game of baseball today. I'm fascinated the globalization of baseball and the talent discovery. You talk about development, but I also talk about talent discovery. Talk about the game today and the potential with the growth of baseball globally and how it affects development, because somebody playing in Japan is different than somebody playing in the minor leagues in Massachusetts, etc. Talk about assessing and developing talent from all over the world, not just the traditional locations.
Yeah, see, I'm a big fan of globalization. When I started with the Red Sox were the least diverse team in Major League Baseball when I got there, and when I left, because of our international recruiting, which we did aggressively around the globe, signing players from Japan, Korea, Mexico, Venezuela, Canada, Europe. By the time I left, and all the people that I had hired, not just the players, but the people to support them, right, to teach them the language and the culture. The Red Sox went from the least diverse to the most diverse. But along the way, it also grew the brand of the Red Sox, right? The Red Sox became a global brand, not quite up there with the Yankees, but a lot of that had to do because we had brought these players from around the globe. And the growth of baseball has been very good on the international market recently. I mean, I think that's the biggest opportunity that baseball has. And you see the World Baseball Classic bringing baseball and the spirit of baseball and the spirit of these countries, similar to the World Cup. And you do that every couple of years, and you can see the impact that it has on bringing new fans in and having the fans interact and know the players. We signed a left-handed pitcher by the name of Wei Chen when I was with the Orioles from Taiwan, and Chen pitched in the Japanese league, and then we got him out of there. But when we pitched in the playoffs, and Chen helped us get to the playoffs, and the games were televised back to Taiwan, Wei Chen was now a big star, right? And a lot of the fans in Taiwan, they became Oriole fans because of Wei Chen. So it's like that's part of the magic of the globalization. The teaching of the game. The game also grows when you go globally to recruit, because when you go globally to recruit, you also attract coaches, right? And when you attract the coaches and you teach them the fundamentals of the game, you're teaching the teachers, and you're in effect growing the game. we did a lot of that when I was with the
Yeah.
Expos, particularly
Right.
in Canada. We had a what do you call it, a module in Quebec, and then we had
Yeah.
the National Baseball Academy. The Blue Jays took care of
Right.
out in Vancouver,
Yeah.
and we were able to grow the game in Canada. And
Yeah.
so 20 years later, when Canada beat the USA in the WBC, they said to me, "Wow, that's great. Does that surprise you?" And I said, "No, not really, because we were out there 20 years ago
Yeah.
coaching the coaches, and they were teaching the players, and the
Yeah.
players were going to
Yeah.
junior college in the States, and then coming up in the system. So you saw a
Yeah.
lot of Canadians.
Dan, I want to encourage you to raise your hand, ask questions. This is about you. This isn't about us talking to you. We'll take your questions now. So raise your hand and let Nick know you have a question. And there we go. We're going to go to John. And Dan, before I go to John real quickly, the Royals, back when Frank White was discovered, the Academy back then in the 70s, do we do that now with the franchises per se? Or is that a one and done? Because it was a big deal back then to take a non-baseball player, Frank White. It's a good story, but I'm just curious. Give me that short answer, and we'll go to John and Brady for their questions.
You
Go
know,
ahead.
I'm glad you brought that up because Lou Gorman was part of that Kansas City Baseball Academy, and he talked about it glowingly. And then when I was with the Orioles, we ran our minor league operation out of the same
Hmm.
facility that they use, the Buck O'Neill complex there in south of Sarasota.
Yeah.
So that's always been a educational program that I've been fascinated with.
Yeah.
The major league teams actually took that model to the Dominican, right?
Hmm.
Several years ago, and they brought that academy approach to the Dominican, and but then they extended it a little bit further by inviting the players from the other markets, from Venezuela, uh,
Hmm.
uh, Puerto Rico,
Good.
the islands,
Right.
and they invited him into that complex setting in
Yeah.
the Dominican. So
Yeah.
that complex idea, I think, has been a
Yeah.
good one for Major League
Yeah.
Baseball because you notice a lot of the star players are coming from
Yeah.
international signees, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you can attribute that directly to
Yeah.
that model of the players
Right.
getting a start in the complexes, if you will, in the Dominican. Just about every team has a complex
Yeah.
down there. I was down there last year. I saw the complexes. I think the Marlins put like $11 million into theirs. The Orioles like 14 million. Red Sox 17 million. So you can build
Yeah.
the Taj Mahal in the Dominican for that kind of money.
Yeah.
And these facilities are big time,
Yeah.
and you see it bearing fruit. Look, Basallo, look at the catcher the Orioles brought up.
Yeah.
He's going to be a
No,
big.
I think it's very exciting. We have a global footprint. I really believe my son's moving to Abu Dhabi with his wife and two kids, but we have a student over there and they're involved with Saudi Arabia baseball. But I think we're in a real 3.0 revolution. John, let's go back to your introduction now that Dan's here into your question or comment. And John, thanks for your professionalism and patience. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Dr. Lashbrook. Hello, Dan. It's very nice to meet you.
Hi, John. Nice to meet
I'm
you.
John Fontenot. I'm currently in the medical field, but looking to pivot into baseball. I've already taken Dan Evans' course with Sports Management Worldwide, and I'm scheduled for your course that starts next week.
Oh, great.
If you
Right.
show up.
I'm definitely going to show up. I have a million questions for you, but I'll just stick to one. So I'm in Houston right now. The Houston Sports are having a conference on Friday, and the Astros are going to be there, and I'm going to show up with my resume, with my sports management references, and I'm going to ask for a job. Do you have any tips on how I should approach that?
Well, who are you going to see? You going to go right for Dana Brown?
I have no idea who's going to be there and show up.
Yeah.
They didn't say. They just said that the Astros are going to be there.
Well, I would think about what you can add to their organization and think about how you can tell them that succinctly in 45 seconds and
Yeah.
how you can distinguish yourself from the other
Yeah.
candidates.
And Dan, let me add something. John, seriously, after 45 years, don't ask for a job, ask for advice. They're going to ask for your resume. say I'm this and da da da. What are you looking for? What are the challenges? And they'll say something, and you'll say da da da. And Dan Duquette, I'm taking his class. He or she might ask for the resume. I think the worst thing you can do is ask for a job. Everybody in the room's asked for a job, and what you want to do is, what do they need? How do you make a difference? How can you get a World Series ring to a team? That's really the question. And you say it so sincerely. And then you name drop Sportsman Worldwide and Dan Duquette. You got a lot more credibility than just another guy in line asking for a job. And that's why I really urge you to do it that way. We call it an informational interview. Does that make sense, John? Thank you so
Yes.
much, John. Let's go to Brady with your introduction and question for the late, but still here, Dan Duquette. Go ahead, Brady.
Hi, Dan. I'm Brady. I'm from outside of Cleveland. This summer, I got a chance to work with Prep Baseball in New York and got to network with a little bit with Josh Tolley. He's up there now, full time now that he's retired. Talked to him a little bit. But my question kind of revolves. I grew up a Pirates fan, so I got to see the best of Nate McLouth when he was a
Hey, how about
MVP
that?
candidate. MVP candidate when he was a younger player. But I was wondering, he had a resurgence with the Orioles when he looked like he was at the back end of his career. What goes into making that decision to take a chance on that? And what did you see that made you guys take a
Good
chance?
question.
Well, that's a really good question, and you brought up a really interesting player. So Nate McLouth was an all-star, right?
Yes,
And all of a sudden he's nothing, right? He's
with the Braves.
he's nothing. Like, how do you go from an all-star to being worth nothing, right? Not even having a job. And so I looked into it, and I found out that the reason that he went from being an all-star to being not having a job is because he had a concussion, and he didn't rehab it properly. And when I found that out, I said, I got to give this guy a chance, man. I like this guy. He's a hard worker. He's got power. He's got speed. He was an all-star. And the home run he hit in Yankee Stadium, that was fair. It hit the fair pole, by the way.
Yes.
But anyway, I love the kid, and I gave him an opportunity, and he made the most of it. He did great for the O's. But sometimes you have to look below the hood of the car to figure out why the car isn't running the way it should.
Yeah.
And that was the case with Nate McLeod.
Brady, a follow-up before I go to Sebastian?
No, thank you. That was all I had.
Thank you, Brady. And please feel free to raise your hand if you have questions. Let's go to Sebastian with your introduction and question for Dan. Go ahead, Sebastian.
You're on
That's
mute,
better.
buddy.
That's better. Sorry. Hi, Dan. I am Sebastian Dowdsmith. I am from the same area you're from. I worked right at Dalton and at Wacona. I'm currently down studying at
Wacona
Arizona.
High School grad?
Yes. Oh, I'm not a grad, but I was the track coach, and a bunch of my family went and graduated from there around the same time as you.
Hey,
So,
awesome, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
I was back there last week for the CRA Hall of Fame. I was the
Oh,
keynote
nice.
speaker.
Awesome.
And they had a girl from the track team that's she's one of the top runners in Division III. And
Yes.
they honored her.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Ariana, I think that was
Yeah,
one of them.
right.
But yeah. So I'm studying at ASU, hoping to get my bachelor's in sport management. But my question for you is, what tips would you have in terms of networking, in terms of now, so that I can set myself up within the future to get my foot in the door? I know within the course, there's plenty of references from you guys, which would be significant. But just in terms of the present time, what would you recommend doing?
And Dan, I suggest that he does everything he can to get into the baseball operations at the university. I told him that that's so important.
Yeah, that's important. And then you figure out what you like to do, and you're around like-minded people. ASU has a good program. I see a lot of kids in the Cape League up there in the summertime, and they're doing analytics, they're broadcasting. The networking opportunities that are encouraged by the Sports Management Worldwide program, where you where you interface with somebody that has professional experience, where you really get to interview them. Those are really good stepping stones for you to meet people within the industry and find out their perspective. And that's one of the better networking exercises that I've seen. And then I would pound all the Wacona graduates that are in baseball. My cousin Jim, you should call him and let him know that you're trying to get out there. He's got an influential position there on the not the MLB network. He's on the Sirius radio. He's got a radio program every day. So he'd be a good guy, and his brother Patrick is a basketball coach for UMass Lowell. He'd be another guy. I'd knock on his door.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Dan, before we go to Nick, I went to Springfield College. I assume you couldn't get in Springfield, and that's why you ended up at Amherst. Let's go to Nick with your introduction and question for Dan. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah. Dan, great to meet you. My question for you is, could you just give me a high-level perspective on what the incoming classes look like in the operations department? Is everybody an MIT grad? That's what it seems like these days. Or they're normal people that just love baseball, actually played baseball. Give me a sense, because I've got this sense in my head that a lot of the people are MIT and know how to or know Python and R.
Well, I think your instinct there is accurate as far as the competition for major league front offices. Like I haven't been hiring for major league front office for like 5 years, but I can tell you when we opened up a job search, if I wanted to get a candidate that had an MBA, I could choose a candidate that had an MBA for every job that we ever had open in the baseball operation. So there's a lot of competition because let's face it, it's the entertainment business. It's people like it. They want to be around it. Teams put a lot of value on coding skills, right? And the what do you call it? The metrics. I'm not sure that that's the foundation of a well-rounded organization. So there's a lot of passionate baseball people in the baseball operation. There's a lot of people on the field. There's a lot of people in scouting that are passionate about it and don't have the advanced degrees. But a lot of the advanced degrees, teams are hiring those people in their front offices. But there's other opportunities, throughout the organization. I say this all the time. The hardest part is getting your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, you'll be able to find your way, if you're passionate about it. So you got to stay after whatever leads you have to get.
Dan, and we'll take few more questions here before we say call it a day, and Jeff will give you a little background. But Dan, we got the winter baseball meetings. You've been coming for years. I love going to the winter baseball meetings. Describe to the group what they would find their experience in the winter baseball meetings.
Well,
Even though we depend on Zoom for our life and our lifeblood, we love those conferences, and the beer tastes better than it does over Zoom. Go ahead.
We've had a great time at the winter meetings. Our keynote speaker happened to be Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, and then last year we had Jason Stark.
Yeah,
those are a couple of Hall of Famers. They were the keynote speakers. So you get a chance to meet a lot of like baseball people, accomplished people. It's really good for networking.
Yeah.
But the quality of the people that you'll meet down there and the access that you'll have to all the teams and all the executives, that only happens once a year. all the vendors, they're down there, and people come from all around the world for that weekly. What do you call it? It's a trade meeting for Major League
Yeah.
Baseball.
Right.
And, you'll meet people from around the globe. I found it's very helpful to network, meet people that are in the game, find out if it's something that you're really passionate about and something you want to do,
Yeah.
and get a foundation for your career.
Yeah, Dan, thank you. I want to, Liz and I and the staff want to thank you. I appreciate, even though you're late, everybody stayed in, and I truly enjoy it. I can't wait to start your next class. We're lucky to have you as a faculty as we grow our company globally. And any closing comment to our staff before I hand the mic to Jeff?
Yeah, you guys had some great questions, and look forward to meeting you guys in class, and maybe I'll see you in Orlando.
Okay, go Royals. We play Seattle tonight, Dan. We gotta win out. I don't know if we can
Got
do
a
it, but
big
it's gonna
game.
be fun.
We got Mike Yastrzemski on that team. I hope he can do some good for you guys.
He's doing a nice job. He's a good kid. That's a
He's a
great
great
story.
kid. He's a good
Yeah.
leader. Yeah.
Yeah, great leader. Okay, thank you. Let's pass the mic to Jeff. Jeff, give them the housekeeping chores, if I may, of who we are and how we can help you. And I really look forward to working with a lot of you. I appreciate your questions and your maturity and professionalism, understanding that people get calls once in a while to make decisions. But Jeff, I'll pass the mic to you, and thank you for coming in. Nick, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, Jeff Brody, Vice President of Operations, been at SMWW for 17 years. I recognize a lot of these faces, and I know a lot of you are already signed up for courses, but would love to answer any follow-up questions you might have. Not only about Dan's course, but SMWW as a whole. Pretty quiet group. No questions?
Well, Dr. Lynn, you must have done a great job, man.
Yeah.
I think we got one from
We
Jonathan.
kind of did this in reverse order and answered some questions up front.
That's fair.
Go ahead, I'm
Jonathan,
sorry.
Jonathan, you had your hand raised.
So I was gonna ask about the Orlando event, but I saw the price for it. I'm definitely gonna be there.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
opportunity.
you're close. You have no reason not to be there, Jonathan.
I know I'm always in Orlando. That's like a day trip for me. So
Yeah, exactly. We'll look forward to seeing you there.
We got Alyssa here.
Hi. So I was just wondering, like, regarding the classes, because I'm not signed up for any yet. For like somebody who is trying to pivot, because like I said, I'm an athletic trainer and I'm trying to pivot into more of the business side of sports, but I don't really have the time for like internships, and I like know how important those are, especially wanting to work in like college or professional sports. Do you think like your classes provide almost like a good, almost like supplement for that, if that makes sense?
Jeff, are you still there? Oh, did his. Well, I can speak a little bit about it. So you asking a little bit about like how the classes can be beneficial because sometimes internships can be very, time consuming and it's a busy schedule. I mean, these courses are meant for people who have day jobs. They're meant for people who are in school. So for example, I took Dan Duquette's baseball player development class, and I was working in my job here at Sports Management Worldwide, but I'm also a director of youth teams for a local baseball organization here in the area. And so that's about 60-ish hours a week while I'm working. And so one might say like, oh, I don't have enough time. Absolutely. But sometimes they say if you really truly care about something, you really want to go for it, you'll be able to find time out of your day. It doesn't need to be like sitting there for 3 hours at night working. You can do an hour in the morning, wake up an hour earlier than you normally do some of your studying, then go do your day job, and then take a break, eat, and then do 30 more minutes at home. Or if you're on the road, maybe listening to an audiobook about it as well. So there's different strategies that each can use in order to do so. And all the classes are on Zoom, and you get like the only time that it would be it would be advised to you to be available during the time is doing the Zoom classes, especially with Dan Duquette. But at the same time, all our classes are recorded. So, because we understand people, stuff comes up, people get busy, not able to make it. And we want to make sure that's easy for you guys to be able to attend to all that. So that would be my type of advice to that as well, and on that side of things.
I missed
Okay,
the
perfect.
question.
Oh, she was asking about like how does the courses work with time wise, because someone who's very busy, she wants to make sure she's able to get the full out of it as well, because internships can as well are very time
Yeah,
consuming.
and I'm sure you said this, Nick, but so I missed everything that you said. But Alyssa, they're so flexible. Everything's recorded and archived. If you happen to miss a class, it's not going to be the end of the world. Obviously, the more you get in live, the better, the more rapport you're building with your instructors. Everybody has very specific agendas and questions that they might have. So I wouldn't worry about time and your schedule by any means.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You bet. Sorry I froze.
You're fine.
Any other questions for us?
While we're waiting, I know we talked about earlier with like the informational interviews, and some of you guys asked, so do I just ask anybody in the industry? I mean, kind of yes. So I have an example. So I took the baseball analytics course last fall with Ari Kaplan, and I was struggling to find people to get informational interviews with, and I was shooting people on LinkedIn. I was trying to find people's emails. I was just talking with people, and I finally got responded by a couple people. And I was able to talk with the director of research and development for the Seattle Seahawks, Patrick Ward. Now, is he someone that's going to help me get into the baseball world? Or maybe, but he's going to be someone that gave me advice of how he started working with his own free work, doing blogs online, and trying to do a bunch of free work to publish the skills that's able to. And then Nike ended up finding out about some of the stuff and loved what he was writing about, ended up hiring him on, and he was more into the sports science thing side of things. Then it eventually led to his time with the Seattle Seahawks. And then another example is Daniel Kaplan. He's the scouting manager for the Washington Nationals. And I know there was a question earlier about somebody asked, what if you've never played, what if you're not an MIT grad or you've never played the game before, you don't have these X's and O's. Well, he is also someone who's never played the game before. He just worked his butt off to learn everything he needed to do and network with people and prove why they're deserving of him. And now he's at a place where actually on the call with him, he was like, I have to leave. I just got called in. They asked me, what are we going to do about CJ Abrams? Because he's not developing the way we want him to be developing in the big league level. And so those are the type of people that you can be able to reach out to regardless of who you are. If you just ask for 10 to 15 minutes, I got an hour with both of those guys.
And that, to add on to that, Nick, so many people in sports know other people in sports. It's a pretty small fraternity when it comes down to it, right? Whether you worked in football and moved to baseball, I mean, that happens all the time. So that's a very good point. You never know who you're going to talk to and who they can connect you with. Use your first informational interview to get to your second, to get to your third, to get to your first job.
Exactly. And there's multiple different pathways. I mean, even down level to the intern that's now a video coordinator. I mean, I know minor league video coordinators, I see those jobs pop up all the time. I mean, it's hiring season right now. We're about to get going. Season's wrapping up. I'm sure you guys have all seen on Teamwork Online, on LinkedIn, on each individual page website. It's going off right now. So now's a really good time to be on the lookout for those. And then obviously having those references as well.
And to add to that, I always tell people this, and I've probably told half the people on here since I know half of them over the phone, or over half, is do an informational interview with somebody in HR. Learn the team's hiring processes. Learn the league's hiring processes. That's really important.
You don't want to go in.
And you'll learn those kind of things in the class. I mean, that's exactly what your instructors will say too.
Plus, and everyone who's an alumni, they're able to take our sports career strategies class complimentary as well. And so that's another good way where if you're struggling to get a job, struggling to get an interview, Mark Washoe is a great instructor that has experience in this industry about like where do you find yourself in each level, regardless of what sport it is as well. And some of those are just key facets that, everyone is saying like, oh, I need to be this, I need to be this. You just need to be you. You just need to know how to navigate to that point so that the employers can see who you are and how to maximize that. So those are the type of skills and skill sets and resources that Sports Management Worldwide provides to help you, because Dr. Lashberg had an agent that helped him project to where he was, and now he wants to be able to return it for each one of you guys. Is there any other lasting questions? I know it was mentioned in the slideshow, but we also, according with our courses, we have apprenticeships. To go along with that, we also have graduate degree programs. As we have a relationship with Concordia University Chicago, we have masters in sport. We have a master's program, an MBA program, and 2 doctorate programs. And these are great ways for you if you're especially looking to work in college. As we talk about, we see NIL. I know Dr. Lashberg talked about that earlier, but these front offices are now transitioning into the college realm. I mean, it's now a business of how can we get people to stay, and we need to go out recruiting, and they have a lot more people on staff than they ever have, regardless of whatever sport it is. And so, coming with that is having some sort of graduate degree will help you in the long run on that side of things as well. And we have, programs that are over under third of the cost of what you'll get anywhere else. And we even waive your application fee. Plus, we basically help you go throughout, the application process with questions. We have people on staff who work really closely with the CUC office. So that's also another option because, like I said, there's more ways than one. I mean, some people could take a course and get a job. Some people need a degree and that helps them project themselves. Some people take multiple. It just kind of depends on what you want to do and the amount of time and effort that you want to put in to your own guys' career as well. Do you have anything else to follow up, Jeff? Yeah, make sure I'm mute. Jeff, I think you're on mute still.
Sorry. No, everything sounds good. I think we've covered a lot of stuff today, and thanks for Dan for coming in. I'm not sure if he's still in here, but better late than never. And we look forward to starting his course on Monday. Also, if you have any questions that you just want to ask, always call the office. We're there. We're on the West Coast. Keep that in mind. I'm usually the first in pretty early. So just call and chat, and questions come up all the time. I know sometimes this isn't the best setting for some people to ask questions. So if you just want a one-on-one, always feel free to call.
And I just put in the number again in the chat and the perfect email to reach out to as well in order to get a response. And again, thank you guys for staying on. I know it wasn't as according to plan, but I appreciate you guys' support, and we will have rescheduled this in the future as well, so we can get a full hour with Dan. But with that being said, if there's nothing else, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.